So what we have been doing at Puvidham is we've gone through gardening as one way of making the children to realize their own abilities. So they want to move. So why don't they move so that they do something positive? So when they are moving with their shovel and sickle and getting food out from the soil, that is very empowering for children. They feel so good about it. And finally, what do we want to teach the children? What is it that we are here for the children? What we need them to understand is to know who they are, to respect themselves, to love themselves, to know their abilities, to be able to find meaning in their life by their own interactions with the world around. That is what we want for the children. And therefore, too much instruction doesn't help. But when you're doing creative work, and by creative work, I mean all work is creative. Even sweeping a house is creative work, because what you've done is you've just created a space that is clean. Organizing the shelves, washing clothes, everything is creative work as far as we are concerned. And so this, when children are involved in creating resources, doing this work, they have to be mindful. You cannot wash your clothes without, looking where is the dirt. And that is when you're there in the present moment. So that is how all work is kind of, people have said work is worship. But work is also worship because you're in the present moment. You're mindful. At that moment, you are totally absorbed in that particular activity. Like when you're harvesting, it's such a peace-giving activity. You're plucking things, you're taking it, and it makes you feel so rich. So these experiences, you cannot read from textbooks and learn. These are experiences that need to be felt. Unless they are felt, you're not going to be able to respond to that need in the child to value themselves. So this is something that all of us need to do. We need to value ourselves. We need to respect ourselves. We need to know that, into the world around us. That's what makes us feel happy. So when children work with their hands, they feel that feeling of contentment, of abundance, which is what mindfulness is all about, which is what being in the present moment is all about. You're not worried about the future. You're not worried about the past. You're enjoying the present moment. And in that moment, you have the ability to share, the ability to give, the ability to just be, So this is what we are trying to do. All the time the kids are busy working. We hardly have about 2.5 to 3 hours of academic time. Most of the time the children are busy doing something or the other. It gives them physical freedom, but there is also a lot of responsibility that comes along with that physical freedom. And it also gives them the space to act, on their own impulses. So they are responding to their intuition. And so they suddenly say that, I think I want to plant these seeds. And we say, okay, fine, here, take it. And that ability to be able to respond to this inner voice and then see the results of that. I think that is the only way that we remain connected with the universe. That's the only way we can get to be who we want to be, really. So, and it's not like, work is separate and life is separate. So when you're working in the garden, you can do your science, you can do your math, you can do your language, you can sit down and write poetry, you can do sketch. So all these things can be incorporated very, very fluidly into the work of gardening. So this is our prime work area. We spend about 2 hours every day working in the garden. And so when you don't have space, you can always do it in bags and pots. So gardening is not something that you can do only when you have a lot of land. Even if you grow 2 plants, it gives you the kind of happiness that you would never get from any number of toys. And art is another way, where another moment when the child is totally in the work. So when you're reading, perhaps you are traveling with the book, but when you're drawing, you are in that particular moment. You're there. And that is what we are all trying to achieve. Mindfulness means being present. When you're looking at something and sketching it, that is when you're completely, all your focus is on that particular work. And that is what cultivates mindfulness. They do a lot of other craft work, origami, clay work, woodwork, construction, scientific experiments. And there is no gender bias. Everybody does everything. Actually, in this picture, you see there are two girls and one boy, and they're actually stitching a sanitary pad together from old clothes. So we use old cloth and we make sanitary pads. The boys know about this, and they are helping the girls to make something that the girls will be able to use. And of course, all the movement, everything that children love to do. So it's martial arts, play, just dances, jumping. That is what the children need to do actually till the age of 14. Theater, to come to stage and to be able to speak. It gives you so much confidence. It gives you so much, you become somebody else. So it really transports you into the future, into the past, into becoming an animal or a tree, and it generates empathy. Yeah, and then we also make this material which children can work with indoors. And there is a lot of, we consider work as yoga. So there is, of course, the yoga, but even the kind of work that these children are doing, making something from coconut shells, where there's a lot of polishing of the shells and all happening, that is also a kind of a meditation. And that is actually easier for children than doing the other kind of meditation. We like to be in harmony with everything. Most of the time when you come to the school, you will not see children inside the classroom at all. They'll be hanging from here or there. And there are no rules of climbing trees except that, one person, one tree. So you can climb as high as you like to go, as high as you feel confident of going. But you don't, if there is somebody on the tree, the other person is not allowed to go, because that causes accidents. And in 30 odd years, we have not had, I think we had one accident. That's all. So it was not a great thing. It was just a small twist of the elbow, and we were able to fix it by ourselves. So I think all these fears that prevent us from allowing our children to move physically are very harmful for the child actually. So yes, please keep the discovery of the child, the spirit of discovery alive. This is what is my request to all educators, parents, adults, wherever they are.